Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo has sworn in 37 commissioners and special advisors approved by the Lagos State House of Assembly. The new cabinet members took an oath of allegiance in accordance with the Nigerian Constitution. Governor Sanwo emphasized their appointment as a unique privilege and called to dedicated service. Sanwo also highlighted his administration's unwavering commitment to delivering on its promises for a greater Lagos and Nigeria as a whole. Among the notable members of the State Executive Council are Idris Aregbe, appointed as Special Advisor on Tourism, Benga Omotosho, who retained his position as Commissioner for Information and Strategies, and Akin Abayomi, who will continue serving as Commissioner for Health.
Mr. Aregbe Olayiwola Idris is a distinguished Lagos grassroots politician. He is a multifaceted individual, excelling in business, entrepreneurship, and philanthropy.
This occasion is historic because it's another milestone in our democratic odyssey and a fulfillment of the provisions that are contained in our Constitution. In a world troubled by instability and a rising suspicion of value of democracy in some quarters, this event and the journey to get here demonstrate how well we are doing and how well we have imbibed the tenets of democracy. I congratulate our commissioners and special advisors, the men and women whose knowledge and experience have lifted them to this lofty height here today. They have been carefully and painstakingly chosen, and they are by no measure some of our best brains, not just in Lagos, but all around the country. These are men and women that we can and we will hold on to anywhere in the world. They are emblems of what Lagos State is all about, a center of excellence. Lagosians should therefore rejoice in their selection and be expected of the quality service and performance in the months and the years ahead. To members of the new Executive Council, the expectation of our people has never been higher than they are right now. Doing your best to meet them is therefore not an option. It is the least that will be expected of you. Lagos is the center of excellence. Your work, your action, your deeds, your thoughts must reflect excellence at all times. And it has a huge ramification on everything that we stand for and that we do. Working together, carrying the people along, keeping your feet on the ground firmly, and ensuring that every decision you take has the best interest of our people at heart.
Well, congratulations to all the the sworn-in commissioners here in Lagos State. Rufai?
It's indeed been an odyssey, Ayo, when you look at it in every ramification. It's also been an odyssey in politicking. It's also been an odyssey in the stories of life. It's also been an odyssey in politicians playing their games and shutting the people out. But first this morning, first things first, I'd like to say a very big congratulations to the commissioners that made the cut. The likes of Mr. Benga Omotosho, the likes of Professor Akin Abayomi. Sadly, the other commissioners that were cut in the odyssey, the former Commissioner of Education, for instance.
Yes.
She was caught in the odyssey, and a couple of other commissioners that were caught in the odyssey. Sorry about it. You were just caught in the fights when politicians fight tooth and nail. I'd like to revisit some things as I say congratulations to the commissioners. So, the so-called allegations the State House of Assembly had, where are they? They said they found some things. That's why they rejected these commissioners in the first place. So that report has been buried, right? We play this game of hypocrisy. It's too much in Nigeria. All of a sudden, all sins forgiven. Everything is in the past. Political deals done. People can move forward. But the Speaker of the State House of Assembly said so much at that point in time. And we kept on urging him on to say more. But he said, I'm not going to say more. But the panel saw some things. But all of that is all gone now. In all of this, we have seen that there actually could be many factions in politics, and it's about interest and interest alone. And when interest aligned, people move forward at the expense of professionalism. Take, for instance, the former Commissioner of Education making a case for her, served professionally, but she was caught up in the odyssey. Other commissioners first selected by the governor were people of stellar quality, but they were caught up by the odyssey of politicking. And now they've been shuffled, but congrats to those that made the cuts. And finally, they've been sworn in today. So if all of this taught us something, is that it's about interests. And when you look deeply, except we start to build a government that is beyond the interests of few people, and to get professionals in place to run government, we will not move forward. But congratulations to the ones that made the cut. They survived the fight that happened. Everybody's all kissed and made up. We've moved on like nothing happened before. Nigeria, we hail thee.
Okay, what we have seen on display in Lagos State is basically the tension between the legislature and the executive. And what we can say is that the executive has a role to play, the legislature has a role to play. What we saw in Lagos State was that when the governor submitted his list of commissioners, it ended in a cul-de-sac whereby some were endorsed, others were rejected, leading to a meeting between the Lagos State government, the Lagos State governor, and the GAC, as it is called, which is the Governance Advisory Council in Lagos State. And it was on the basis of that the rejected commissioners were sent back to the assembly. And now what we have had is a situation whereby, most of those commissioners, including Tolani Akilu, I think that's his name, was also eventually approved by the assembly, making it 38 advisors and commissioners. I don't know what Babajide Sanwo is doing with 38 commissioners and advisors. It looks like a big cabinet. But from the point of view that this is a PR story, it's just PR story, nonetheless. But let's just look at some of the indications. The fact that the legislature put its feet down, the executive met the legislature halfway, and now we have 38 commissioners and advisors going to work for the governor of Lagos State. 2, congratulations to the persons who have been able to scale the order, the impression of rigorous scrutiny having been provided. A number of points. In Lagos State, we have what they call basic education. There's a commissioner for basic education. There's also a commissioner for tertiary education. I think the distinction is important to the extent that in a second term, the Sanwo-Olu administration will pay close attention to that distinction. Education, as you have always said on this program, being a very important area of target and focus and concentration for governments, either at the state level or at the federal level. The other thing to note, of course, is that, look, I hope that Babajide Sanwo-Olu administration will not behave like other administrations that we have seen. He has been lucky to have a first term. He's also lucky to get a second term. Indeed, what the people of Lagos State expect is even better concentration, better work, greater dedication in the second term. Because many of these boys who become governors, when they get there, when it is their second term, they just relax because they don't need another second term. They don't need a third term, which the Constitution does not provide for. And then they just go on a frolic, they sleep, they just misbehave. Babajide Sanwo-Olu must know that he has not been given this opportunity for him to misbehave. The people of Lagos State, they have many issues that they will still need to be addressed. Yeah, there's been so much excitement over what is it called now? Metro line. Yeah, from Marina, Blue Ray line, from Marina to Mile 2. That Marina Blue Ray line, there's a second phase of it, the red line, all the way to Okukumaiku. If Sanwo and his team, if they are able to address that this second time, then all the celebrations that we saw yesterday will have served its purpose. His administration also promised us a fourth mainland bridge. That fourth mainland bridge, where have they gone with it? If he's able to deliver it, then we'll say, yes, Sanwo worked in his second term in office. If he does not deliver it, we will say he took the people of Lagos State for a ride. There are also other projects about developing business, about collaboration with the private sector. So the key thing is not about swearing in of commissioners. People who want to do PR can do PR and say he has sworn in commissioners and all that. That's not the issue. The concrete issues are about what he will do in his second term. And some of those issues, I can't exhaust all of them. The slums in Makoko, the various challenges that we face in Lagos State. Transportation and LASMA and its deranged officials who are perpetually, frustrating people. Lamata, all these agencies, how can they be made more efficient? That should be the narrative beyond the celebration. But of course, the commissioners and their families will be happy that they've been given positions. But the position is not a chieftaincy title. We have to make that point. It's not a royalty position. It's a position for service, for making a difference, for moving Lagos State forward, and for ensuring that the people of Lagos, the ones who call themselves the indigenous people of Lagos, who are hosting all of us, will be able to say, well, you people are in our state and we are making you happy. But if the government does not work, they will not be able to make that claim. These are the issues, in my view.
Yeah. All right, well, congratulations, like I said earlier on, to all the newly sworn-in commissioners here in Lagos State. And Lagos State is quite pivotal, the commercial capital of Nigeria. And so it's important when we look at perhaps a huge contributor to the GDP in terms of the commercial activity, and it houses a number of organizations in terms of its head offices. So obviously, often in the spotlight. First off, 37 commissioners sworn in. One was left out, obviously, Dr. Dolapo Fashawe, just to clarify that she took on a bigger role in the FCT as mandate secretary for health services and the environment. She was also sworn in by FCT Minister, former Governor Nyesom Wike. She served excellently, for 19 years serving the Lagos State government, and in her recent position as the head of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, she was confirmed by the State House of Assembly, but wasn't there yesterday to be sworn in. So just to give updates on that. Now, in terms of the commissioners, their work is clearly cut out for them. Some of them are returning, and as already been mentioned, hopefully the spirit of, we've done it before, so just relax since it's our second term would not descend on them, and they continue the good work they started. Case in point is the Commissioner for Health. It's often said that the reward for hard work or good work is more work. And so one of the highlights or the shining moment in his tenure as Commissioner in the last tenure was his handling of COVID-19. But beyond that, as was highlighted by the Speaker of the House, is also, let's look at the health infrastructure in Lagos State. It's come under the radar in recent times for students, for buildings, for access to primary health care, maternity, maternal mortality. Very important areas to look at beyond just public health. There's so many. Can we revive the primary health sector in the state and other areas like that, so that Lagos, indeed, as a center for excellence, would have excellent health facilities? That's what we want to see in this new administration. And then very importantly, education. It's been said that we almost need to declare a state of emergency in education in Nigeria, more also in Lagos State. Recall the days of the World Bank Eco project, where the Lagos State primary schools were places to go to. In fact, they could compete favorably with their counterparts in the private sector, in the lower private sector end. The Lagos State also tapped into the Adopt a School initiative quite excellently, and we could see improvement in basic education in Lagos. Hence why perhaps the governor thought it wise to divide the ministry. Now we have a ministry for tertiary education as we have a ministry for basic education in Lagos State with new commissioners appointed in both. Also looking at developing, when it comes to tertiary education, not just LASU, but our polytechnics, our vocational schools, what's happening in those areas. Perhaps this is something that the commissioner might want to look into and a target for him in terms of his next tenure. Commissioner for Tourism, I'm spotlighting Mrs. Toke Benson Awoyinka, especially with the multiple taxes that business owners, small businesses in Lagos State who run in the entertainment and leisure sector have to pay. Recently, the Association for the Venue Owners wrote a letter to the tax board in Lagos because they were burdened by the number of taxes and multiple taxes that they had to pay here in Lagos with little or nothing to show forth in terms of the government giving back to them. You have to run your businesses under very difficult circumstances, yet still be taxed multiple times. Spotlight on that because that's a huge revenue generator. We know how many parties, events, recreational activities happen in Lagos almost every day and on weekends. So if they're doing so much to contribute to the GDP of the state, then they also must benefit from good governance in Lagos State. Commissioner for Environment, spotlight was given onto flooding in Lagos State. Yesterday, we showed the video of an estate in Lagos that looked like a beach because of how much water. So we must pay close attention. It's not just a title. We have to see plans. The commissioners are there to take forward the mandate of the governor to work here in Lagos State. Two more areas and I'll wrap up. One is Mr. Tuboso Alake with regards to the science and technology. Lagos houses the biggest tech hub in the whole of Africa. How are we leveraging that? That's the CC hub. So there are other potentials when it comes to technology, science, and promoting that, not just in our schools, but as a business generator. And finally, Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget. Earlier on, we talked about one of the commissioners who had also taken the fall in the issue, Mr. Sam Egube, who did considerable well in terms of his tenure in the last 4 years, and it's quite sad to see him go. But Moshope Foluwa George has now taken on that role, and we're looking for that, economic activity, providing an enabling environment for businesses to thrive here in Lagos. So once again, congratulations. Their work is cut out for them, and we hope that they will make Lagos indeed that center of excellence.